Hello friends, in this video we are going to look at some more important, most famous lines of novels and dramas. All of you must have watched the first two part. Basically, we must understand that the first lines of the novels are very important, not just for the sake of examination, whether it is UGC NET examination, CUET examination, TRB examination, but even many other competitive examination. Beyond that, basically the first line of a novel is, basically arguably the most important of the entire work. As for that matter, any other author, if you go through, the very first line can be, can make a lot of difference between a reader who just, gets impressed by the novel and starts reading it, or he puts it aside. Actually, the first lines of the novel sets the tone, they reveal the character, and even expose the whole themes of the novel, right? In fact, some of those lines are very iconic novels and become very part of the whole consciousness. For example, all of you must have heard about the novels, famous, title, first line of the novels like Pride and Prejudice, okay, or for that matter, even Leo Tolstoy's novel Anna Karenina. Yeah, for example, like happy families are all alike. Every unhappy family is unhappy in its own way, right? And it is a very solid statement which makes us, it gives us the whole clue of the novel, right? The whole theme of the novel, because the whole novel deals with the story of, a happy family and how happy family, becomes, a unhappy family. So in that sense, the very first novel sums up the whole novel, right? So that's why we must concentrate and try to memorize as much as possible the very famous iconic first lines of the novel. So here are the list of other famous novels, famous, lines from the famous novels and even from dramas. Look at the line. Where now? Who now? When now? Right? This is the first line from the novel, the work of, Samuel Beckett. Okay, Samuel Beckett's play, Unnameable. Once an angry man dragged his father along the ground through his orchard. Stop, cried the growing old man at last. Stop, I did not drag my father beyond this tree. So this is very, very famous line from Gertrude Stein's novel, The Making of Americans, written in 1925. Mrs. Dalloway said she would buy the flowers herself, right? This is the opening line of Virginia Woolf's novel, Mrs. Dalloway. All this happened one more or less, right? To try to memorize. This is a very iconic line of one of the most controversial postmodern novel, Slaughterhouse-Five, written in 1969 by Kurt Vonnegut. They shoot the white girl first. So this is the very first line of Toni Morrison's novel, Paradise, written in 1998. For a long time, I went to bed early. Yeah, this is Marcel Proust's novel, Swan's Way, written in 1913. The moment one learns English, complications set in. This is the line from Chromos, written in 1990 by Philip Alfo. Dr. Weiss, at 40, knew that her life had been ruined by literature. So this is the first line of Anita Bruckner's novel, The Debut, written in 1981. I was the shadow of the waxwing slain by the false azure in the window pane. So this is the first line of Vladimir Nabokov's novel, Pale Fire, written in 1962. Ships at a distance have every man's wish on board, right? This is also an iconic line from the novel, a very famous novel written by Zora Neale Hurston. Their eyes were watching God, written in 1937. I had the story bit by bit from various people, and as generally happens in such cases, each time it was a different story. So, this is a very famous line from Ethan Frome, written in 1911 by Edith Wharton. He was an old man who finished along in a skiff in the Gulf Stream, and he had gone 84 days now without taking a fish. I hope all of you can memorize and remember this iconic novel written by Ernest Hemingway, right? So the very famous novel is from The Old Man and the Sea. Look at this, the very first line sums up the plot, the core of this novel. It was a pleasure to burn. This is the very famous novel Fahrenheit 451, written in 1953 by Ray Bradbury. I was born in the year 1632 in the city of York, of a good family, though not of that country, my father being a foreigner in Bremen who settled first at Hull. So this is the from the opening line of the iconic novel. In fact, the very first novel, according to most of the historians, Robinson Crusoe, written in 1719 by Daniel Defoe. In the beginning, sometimes I left messages in the street. So this is the first line of Whittington's Mistress, written by David Markson. Mrs. Brooke had that kind of beauty which seems to be thrown into relief by poor dress. So, as with the very title, the very protagonist, Miss Brooke, I hope all of you could understand. This must be from George Eliot's novel, Middlemarch, written in 1872. It was love at first sight, right? Look at this line, the very iconic line, Catch 22, written in 1962 by Joseph Heller. I have never begun a novel with more misgiving. This is by Somerset Maugham's novel The Razor's Edge, written in 1944. Once upon a time, there was a woman who discovered she had turned into the wrong person. Right? So this is the novel from Anne Taylor's Back When We Were Grown-Ups. The human race, to which so many of my readers belong, has been playing at children's games from the beginning and will probably do till the end, which is a nuisance for few people who grow up. So this is the first line of G.K. Chesterton's novel, The Napoleon of Notting Hill, written in 1904. So this is the end of part 3. Thank you.